in. Come on in. Come on in. I hope you are comfortable. You got your popcorn, you got your drinks, and you are ready to get into some things because it's going to get a little messy over here because we get a little messy over here. Welcome to Aries Rose TV. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose, and it's the Aries Rose Show. We go live every day on the weekdays here on YouTube. So you can catch this show or you can get caught up on a little bit of everything because we talk about a little bit of everything on this channel. Basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. You know the drill if you've been on a live before. If you are a returning Aries crew member, leave hashtag Aries crew in the comments. If you are a first time watcher, leave first time watcher in the comments. I'm going to give you a shout out for stopping by and spending part of your day here. When you do subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comments. I want to personally welcome you to the Aries crew and give you a shout out. If you are on Instagram, follow us there, Aries Rose TV, and let us know you are from YouTube, and we'll follow you back. We post a lot on Instagram, so it's another way to connect with the channel, and we're trying to grow over there. So if you're on Instagram, definitely connect with us over there. And here on YouTube, if you are a subscriber, on the communities tab, they've changed it up a little bit so you can leave questions. We can have discussions on there. There's topics, trending items, breaking news, things you want me to discuss on the channel. You can post all of that on the communities tab. All you have to be is a subscriber. And if you have not already subscribed, we'd love to have you a part of the Aries crew. All you got to do is hit that subscription button and then hit that notification bell so you can find out every time I go live, post videos, post on the community tab, and all of that good stuff. So let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. Hollywood has lost another legend. Seems like we have had a lot of deaths recently, and I hope we do get a reprieve soon. I understand it's the circle of life here, but when it all kind of seems like it's compacted together, it's a little bit overwhelming, and it's a lot. We've had a lot of goodbyes that we've had to say, and Lonnie Anderson has now joined the heavenly squad up there for Hollywood. Lonnie Anderson passed away over the weekend at the age of 79. We recently lost Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, as well as the wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. And they're amongst others that have passed away this year that to me were unexpected, like Irv Gotti or Ms. Valletta Wallace, who is the mother to Notorious B.I.G., a rapper who was murdered back in 1997. His mom recently passed away. So we've had a lot of different folks that have passed away that are part of the music industry and or Hollywood. Very sad time right now. So we'll get into what was going on with Lonnie Anderson and her health at the time of her passing. She had been married to Burt Reynolds, and I guess they had a pretty tumultuous relationship when they were together, but she did do things on her own and had been in TV shows and movies as well. I believe they met on a movie set. I think she also did some modeling too as well back in the day. And we also got to talk about Uncle Shay Shay. Shannon Sharpe is being sued again for $20 million. I don't know what's going on with him and these lawsuits. Also, Chad Ochocinco, I believe, is included in this lawsuit as well. And it's a lawsuit for defamation. So we got to talk about that lawsuit and what it has to do with the Usher concert as well. But first, we're going to get into talking about the Hollywood legend here, Lonnie Anderson. Let's get into what was going on with her and her health at the time of her passing. Her birthday was pretty close when she passed away over the weekend here. I think it was like a few days away from turning 80, or a day or so away from turning 80. And let's see what's going on here. This is reporting from TMZ. Lonnie Anderson, who starred in WKRP in Cincinnati, was once married to the late Burt Reynolds, is dead. If you remember WKRP in Cincinnati, leave WKRP in the comments. I used to love that show. My dad watched it all the time. Thought it was a really good show. I love shows from back in the day. I'm more into classic TV than I am into any of the newer stuff. I think that was some of like the best television, best comedy best sitcoms. They just don't make them like that anymore when everybody sat at the TV watching the same show at the same time, and then you could go to work and talk about it. It's so different now because there's so many streaming channels, so many options. Sometimes it's really hard to have a common show. So I think that's something that these shows had going for them back in the day. Since there were such limited options, it was easier to make those shows world breakouts and have hits than it is now, where you have to do a lot to grab a massive audience, because there's just so many different ways people consume media and content now. Definitely a different time. But if you do remember that show, leave WKRP in the comments here. The actress died Sunday at a Los Angeles hospital following what her longtime publicist, Cheryl J. Kagan, told the AP was a prolonged illness. The official cause of death is unclear. In a statement to AP, Lonnie's family says, quote, "We are heartbroken to announce the passing of our dear wife, mother, and grandmother," end quote. Lonnie played the sexy and smart receptionist Jennifer Marlowe on WKRP in Cincinnati, a well-known TV show back in the late 70s and early 80s about a struggling Ohio radio station. She was married to Burt Reynolds for 5 years before a nasty divorce that officially ended in 1993 when Burt agreed to pay Lonnie $234,794.13, which I'm assuming for that time must have been a lot of money for them to spell out exactly how much it was. And we can dig a little deeper into the scandal of their relationship on a different video. Joyce is Sigma, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And there's a leaderboard on here for the live. So come and run up the comments here. The more you comment, the more you interact, the higher up you go in the leaderboard. And we will definitely give you a shout out here on the live. It says they got hitched after starring together in the 1983 comedy flick Stoker Ace. If you know that movie, let me know. I have never heard of that, but if you've seen it, let me know in the comments. Lonnie had a role in A Night at the Roxbury. I do remember that movie, as Barbara Butterby, the mother of two dim-witted brothers, played by Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan. So if you remember Night at the Roxbury, leave Roxbury in the comments here. Now, that movie I did like. That was pretty funny. I enjoyed that. Definitely a different type of humor that you don't see so much anymore. Will Ferrell was one of a kind. And it says she was 79 and her death comes just days before what would have been her 80th birthday. May she rest in peace. And definitely to all of her family and friends, anybody that will be impacted by her passing, my condolences. Very sad time. 79 is still a good amount of time, but I know it never feels like enough no matter what age it is. So my heart definitely goes out to them during this difficult time. Alan, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. And let me know what's your favorite TV show or favorite movie with Lonnie Anderson in there. Definitely want to keep the conversation going. Let me know if you're interested in a video on the scandals, some tea from what the relationship was like between her and Burt Reynolds. So leave spill the tea here in the comments if you want a video on that, and we can definitely do that. And now we got to get into Shannon Sharpe here, who's facing another lawsuit. And this one is different than the one that he just recently settled for an undisclosed amount, although some believe it was in the range of $20 to $23 million that he settled the lawsuit with Jane Doe, the OF model, for the lawsuit that was filed against him earlier this year in April, that essentially cost him the ESPN job that he had, because ESPN has recently mentioned that they are no longer working with Shannon Sharpe anymore. He's no longer on ESPN. He will not be returning for the NFL draft like he had initially said. And that's what my thought was at the time as well. If you go back and look at the videos I did on that, when he made the announcement, he was taking some time off from ESPN I knew that was code for they told you need to go, and they're just allowing you to save face and come on and say that it was your idea. But essentially, you cannot work for the House of the Mouse and have the types of allegations that Jane Doe was saying had occurred between her and Shannon Sharpe. It just was not a good look. And it's even impacted his other independent things that he was doing. His nightcap show that he does with Chad Ochocinco. They were supposed to go on a tour over the summer and he had to cancel that. So I think they've lost, some sponsorships over that. And it's probably not going to be quite the same as it was before that lawsuit was filed. Because prior to that, Shannon Sharpe was looking at $100 million podcast deal, I was hearing. So he was about to be well on his way after the Cat Williams interview skyrocketed him on YouTube when that came out in January of 2024. And he was riding a wave, and as things go, what goes up must come down, I guess, really applies in his case, because he was riding that wave and all of a sudden that lawsuit hit, and it's just starting to dip a little bit. And so things aren't looking probably as bright as they were. And then as he was finishing out one lawsuit in that situation, we're hearing another lawsuit has been filed. Now, this was allegedly filed earlier in the year, and it just kind of caught publicity now as far as people being aware of it, but it was filed prior to the settling of the current case that he had with Jane Doe. So he was being sued here by a person who attended the Usher concert. That she had a fan participation experience here, because Usher does his thing with the cherries. And this lovely lady here was being accused of being married, and that her husband was divorcing her because of what went on at this Usher concert, because how she was interacting and engaging with Usher. And this is what Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco were allegedly sharing on their nightcap show. And because of the wide audience that they have, this woman is saying that that damaged her reputation, and it damaged her because part of her brand is that she is a single mom and she homeschooled her child, and her child at the age of 17 got a doctorate. So her whole identity is being a single mom. And then to hear that she was married, not only married, but now getting a divorce because of her behavior at the Usher concert, has apparently negatively impacted her, because she's had parents bring up, why are you hiding your husband? Why didn't you tell us you were married? Like, pretty much trying to say, she's saying, or trying to say that her story that she's been giving is false. But she's saying, I'm not married. I've never been married. Or at least I'm not married right now. I don't know if she's never been married, but she's like, I'm not married and I'm not going through a divorce. So because of this, and because when she reached out to Shannon Sharpe or Shay Shay Media, whichever one she connected with, and requested that the stuff be taken down, she said that they did not do that. And so because it still remained up and it's allegedly false, this is why she has chosen to take legal action against them. So let's see what is going on here. Not such a good not such a good little time here, at least financially wise, for Uncle Shannon, because 20 million is a lot of money here. All right, so her name is Jamalita Tillman. Jamalita Tillman right here. And this is who is suing Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharpe. So let's get into what's going on with that. And this is reporting from complex.com. Jamalita Tillman, the Chicago woman who recently lobbed a $20 million lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco Johnson, is setting the record straight about her intentions. Tillman took to the Morning Hustle to speak about the lawsuit, which was filed in April and moved to federal court in Chicago this past week. The story began when Tillman was one of the lucky fans chosen to share a steamy moment with Usher and some cherries in London back in April, shortly before Sharpe and Johnson recorded an episode of their podcast Nightcap. According to the court documents reviewed by Complex, the hosts falsely accused or falsely alleged she was married at the time of the concert and was now in process of a divorce as a result of the viral interaction. Tillman clarified she was single at the time of the concert. So you can't, from what I've been hearing on different channels, you can't find that video anymore of Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharpe discussing it, but I did hear that audio on the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa, when she was discussing this lawsuit, did play a clip of it, of them discussing that. And in that clip that I heard, Shannon Sharpe did say that she was married and that she was gonna, or she was going through a divorce, that her husband was divorcing her. I don't know if they vetted that, if they were simply reading the story from some other outlets and they weren't asserting that because it was just a clip of them saying that. So what was being said before wasn't in there. So I don't know if they were just reading off a story or if they were trying to share that as fact. I'm unclear on that just because it wasn't the whole episode. It was just that snippet of it. But I don't believe Shannon Sharpe would or Chad Ochocinco would consider themselves journalists. So I don't know if they're just kind of taking sensational stories that are trending and kind of talking about it, or if they're trying to present it as like actual fact that they're looking into. But nonetheless, I understand where this woman is coming from when people have such large platforms. Is there a responsibility level that they have to vet that information to make sure it's true before you start saying it, or I guess put out some disclaimers that you don't know that to be true? You're just repeating what you're seeing or reading somewhere else. Now, I did hear from multiple different outlets that about the fan experience that this person had, that their husband was upset and that they were going to get a divorce. And so I did hear that more than once, and it was not on the nightcap that I had heard that. I heard that in different places, but I didn't really give it a whole lot of thought. I thought, you're always hearing about these Usher concerts here. Seems to be a lot that goes on with these. I understand why husbands would not be 100% happy with maybe how their wives are going to be behaving at these Usher concerts. So, I really didn't think anything of it, nor had I actually heard the person's name. So I didn't even know, who it was at all. So I don't know how people connected her, or maybe I guess they saw the picture and people knew her. That's how the name kind of got out there. But they weren't the only ones reporting that information. I know that much because I definitely had heard that outside of the nightcap show. But let's see what else she's talking about in her lawsuit and how it has impacted her life here. Oop. All right. And then it says, according to court docs, reviewed by Complex, the host falsely alleged she was married at the time of the concert and is now in process of divorce as a result of the viral interaction. Tillman clarified she was single at the time of the concert. Quote, I'm a private citizen, and the rules when it comes to that, you better fact check and double check what you're saying and what you're doing because it's wrong, end quote. Tillman asserted, quote, I am not a public figure, end quote. Tillman alleges that initially she asked for the clip to be taken down and to be issued a public apology paired with a retraction, but her requests were ignored. Now, it doesn't say so far how those requests were submitted, and I didn't happened to hear it initially when it was on Nightcap, so I don't know how long it took them from when she had initially submitted the request to take any action as far as removing the clips. And I don't know if they get stuff directly, Chad and Shannon, or if it has to go through a team before it goes to them. So sometimes when you have the mailboxes, that your email boxes, or even mail that you're monitoring for large stars, they get a lot of things that come in and things can get missed in the mail. So I don't know if anything was ever intentional on the time frame it took to respond back to her. Like if they just didn't get it or they just didn't care to update the information. Not sure on that, but let's see if it kind of delves into that a little bit more, at least from her perspective, what she felt like was going on when she notified them that that information was false. Tillman alleges that she initially asked for the clip to be taken down and to be issued a public apology paired with a retraction, but her requests were ignored. Quote, the other thing about it is people like smaller level platforms were citing him as journalistic news source from where it came from, end quote. She said, emphasizing the spread of the information far past what she felt she could control. She further claims that the allegations have made their way into her professional life as an art executive and homeschooling advocate. Quote, every time I enter a meeting for funding, for programming and activations and things, it comes up. I'm tired of being the punchline when it comes to that aspect, end quote, she said. Tillman compares her legal battle to the story of David and Goliath, further clarifying that this isn't about Sharpe or Johnson, but rather their award-winning multi-million-dollar funded institution. She points her finger to Pink Deer, the production company behind the podcast, and focuses on the alleged lack of ethics and fact checking. Wow. Let's see. She says, quote, he knows better, end quote. Tillman said of Sharpe, quote, you better be able to double check what you're saying. And the way they kept my image up, the way they kept it going in the chat and was going on and on, it was mortifying, end quote. Quote, this institution of Shay Shay Media does not have a policy in place about false information, reporting information, retracting. There is nothing anywhere on Shay Shay Media that states that. They do not feel that they have to be held accountable, and they do, and they're one of many, end quote. Tillman doesn't want to stop at the Chicago courts and intends to take the case to Congress. She also says it is coincidental the news of her lawsuit coincided with his recent dismissal from ESPN, where he was the NFL/NBA analyst on First Take from 2023 to 2025. Quote, I don't got nothing against that man, but at the end of the day, I will protect my name, end quote, Tillman assured. Sharpe also recently settled with Gabrielle Zuniga, a OF model who accused the sports broadcaster of sexual assault. The case was settled for an undisclosed amount of money. And again, this reporting from complex.com in their sports section. So let me know what you think of this new $20 million lawsuit that's going out against Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharpe. Do you think that they're going to settle? I did hear allegedly they are in settlement talks. To me, that would make sense because it could be a very costly case, but it will be interesting to see where it goes from here. And it looks like Shannon is losing a lot of wealth in a very short amount of time. It's crazy how it can take you a lifetime to build something and no time to lose it all. I don't know that he's necessarily losing it all, but that's a big chunk of money. If there's another potential $20 million payout, maybe it won't be that high, but still, millions is millions, and that hurts. And I'm not sure that this lawsuit may go away for less than millions. So we'll see how it goes, but we'll definitely be following that lawsuit here on Aries Rose TV. So make sure you are subscribed so that you can get your updates. If you're on Instagram, follow us at Aries Rose TV, and we'll definitely follow you back. Let us know you are from YouTube. And if you've been on the live this long, we'd love to have you a part of the Aries crew. It's free to join. All you got to do is hit that subscription button and then hit that notification bell so you can find out every time I go live, post videos, post in the community tab, and all of that good stuff. If you have a service or a product that you'd like to advertise on the page, I will leave my business email here in the description. Reach out and we will see if it is a good fit. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on Wednesday night. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Share this live out with family and friends. It helps the channel to grow, get some more eyes on us. We're trying to hit 2K here by fall. So any support is greatly appreciated. It means a lot. I absolutely love this community here. I enjoy coming onto YouTube and chatting with you guys. If you have ideas, topics you'd like me to talk about on the show, reach out to me on the communities tab or leave a comment here on the live. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for watching.